It's in the game.
Give me a break, need another life. Oh, need another life. Give me a break, need another life.
So here we go then, the battle to decide the FA Cup final. Manchester City will take on Liverpool in the other tie, but today our coverage is from Wembley Stadium for the other semi-final, as Arsenal take on the surprise team in the form of Fulham. Our place in the FA Cup final is at stake today. Welcome to Wembley Stadium. I've never been really sure of how I feel about semi-finals being held at Wembley. I've never really been a fan of the idea, to be completely honest. It's something that they might want to reconsider in the future, because I just don't feel semi-finals at Wembley being all that, like, I just don't see it as a venue for semi-finals. You know, Wembley's already got the final. I don't know why they need the semis. But in any case, here today, we've got Arsenal gunning for a second FA Cup in 4 seasons after winning it in 2020 and going for their second FA Cup final as a result in that period. Fulham here are the surprise team, to be fair. They do have a lot of decent players that really kind of back that up, as you can see. But they've certainly been the surprise at the FA Cup this season, but I think Arsenal have beaten Fulham on both Premier League occasions so far, so again, it's going to be another really tough task for them. And for Arsenal, it's back to their traditional 11, bar Alexander Isak, who played against Ipswich and scored his 30th Premier League goal of the season. Tomiyasu comes in for Ben White, who played against Ipswich. Zinchenko's back in, and it's pretty much as you would expect with Moreno, Odegaard, Rice, Gabriel Saliba and David Raya back in goal, despite a very decent game by Daniel Jennings against Ipswich Town. But if you have David Raya in your team, you're going to use him, aren't you? For reasons that have been made very clear this year. The Golden Glove leader, once again, with David Raya, even though he's probably kept less clean sheets than he did last year, it's not by much. And there's Bernd Leno, former Arsenal goalkeeper. He knows a thing or two about playing here, but he's probably still in for a pretty rough time against his former team with the form they're in. But the Premier League has now been shook up. That loss against Brentford could be really telling now, because of course Manchester City won a game in hand earlier this week and have now tied up the Premier League at 85 for both teams. Arsenal lead it though on their very much superior goal difference, and that's pretty much telling its own story. The amount of goals Arsenal scored. They've only failed to score 2 or 3 times this season, most recently, of course, against Brentford in the Premier League clash. Of course, before that, they were knocked out in the previous round, which led Arsenal to this point. And here comes them already. Moreno! Oh, off the post by Bernd Leno, was seeing stars there. And Moreno instantly on the attack, and Arsenal instantly on the attack here. Trossard. And, well, they want to put this to bed early, I guess, which is probably going to be Arsenal's intent for the rest of the year, to be honest. Bassi and Saka had a bit of a clash. It came off Saka's arm at one point, and that's why the referee's giving a free kick. Well, you know that Arsenal, or Fulham rather, have a lot of former Arsenal players in their team. Smith Rowe, Iwobi and Leno, just to name 3 of them. And even though they have experience of playing against Arsenal, you can't really keep them out. Well, this is something that really has come out of the blue. We're hearing rumours that Jorginho is considering retirement now. So that could be quite interesting in what Arsenal do for the future. They're definitely going to have to go into the market possibly for a midfielder then, if that's the case. Jorginho has been rather playing a backup role in midfield to Declan Rice, Moreno and Odegaard in particular this year. So that's an interesting story that we'll keep an eye on. See if that actually happens. But like I said last time out against Ipswich, I think Arsenal really are stacked, to be fair. And down on Traore, and that's a very good tackle by Saliba because Traore could have easily gone down and got a penalty there. Session go and find Lukic. Well, we say going to the market for Arsenal, but really, the likes of Charlie Patino and Fabio Vieira, two very good midfielders, and who can forget Luis Skelly and Monieri as well. Do Arsenal even need to buy any more players at this point? I don't think so. And of course, you've got the PSR and financial fair play rules in effect. And with Arsenal's big spending this year, that may hinder them in terms of buying another midfielder if they want to do so. But really, I don't think they need to. I think Arsenal's pretty much fine with the squad as is. So, and if they win something this year, then I think that rather reinforces that case. So Arsenal should be good. Keeping a hold of Isak and hoping he hasn't peaked too soon is definitely a thought. He forced a save there from Leno. That's the only really worry, but I don't think Isak has peaked too early at all. He was decent against for Newcastle for a couple of seasons before he came here. Well, to Arsenal, that is. And we have a score. Now, I think it's Manchester City against Liverpool, ironically, which was the Carabao Cup semi-final that Liverpool won. I'm going to assume City have scored and Erling Haaland is the goal scorer. That wouldn't surprise me in the slightest, to be honest. I'm going to have to assume that because we didn't get enough time to look at it. Because one thing about the game this year, when you have an interruption in play, it removes the overlay completely. The overlays have been really quick this year. Not been a big fan of it, to be honest. Hope they kind of slow the overlay pacing down a bit so I can actually sit and read these things. Because I'm not a very fast reader, and some of the time you can't even see the overlay at all because it disappears so quickly. In the team lineups of the Premier League, I can barely read the substitutes. They last a second. So it's good that the match injuries are back, but they run too fast for the overlays to be read. So one thing we'll keep an eye out for next year, perhaps, in our coverage. We'll have to decide what team we want to do. I would like Newcastle, possibly. I would definitely take Newcastle if that's an option. We'll have to see what we can get. I've certainly enjoyed watching Arsenal this year. Don't get me wrong on that. It was a bit of a random pick to a degree. We certainly picked the right one because Arsenal has been stellar this year. And winning a trophy is a must. It's an absolute must. No one's really expecting them to go through against Real Madrid in the semi-finals of the Champions League. So we'll give them some slack on that one. But if they don't win the Premier League or FA Cup, it might be considered a bit of a failure for that year, and that would be very unfortunate indeed. But let's hope that doesn't happen. Of course, they have to get to the final first, and that's what this game's about today. I mean, if I was an Arsenal fan, I certainly wouldn't be disappointed with my team this year, that's for sure. I very rarely was disappointed with a team, even when we lost. As a Manchester United player, in fact, supporter myself, I thought that was going to be a free kick. But it's actually offside against Isak, which is rather unfortunate because he was battling with his kind of marker there, but I think that was the right decision. Liverpool finds Declan Rice. I don't know. On the guard. Arsenal certainly on top in this early stages. Tomiyasu. He bursts into the box instead. Leno, good save. Well, I think Jorginho wears the number 20, so someone is probably going to move up in a shirt number for next year, if that is the case and Jorginho does retire. And Nunes A shot that's wide. Well, David Raya did get a shirt promotion. He was put as number 1 immediately after signing, immediately from the start of the season. And he's been very worthy of it, for sure. Once again, for the second season in running, the best goalkeeper in the Premier League. And the clean sheet numbers back that up. And Saka. Arsenal lead in so many columns. That's why we said that a trophy is vital, because they lead in so many columns. Isak has 30 goals. David Raya has about 15 clean sheets to his name. They lead the assist numbers in most competitions. Isak leads the scoring in probably all competitions, bar the Carabao Cup. Because Arsenal didn't really... They only got to the quarters or the semis against Manchester City. And then eventually crashed out on aggregate. Which is another thing that's really weird about football these days. 2 semi-final in the Carabao Cup, it doesn't seem... It's just an idea I don't see, to be honest. I would probably put it. And that's the same with here today at semi-finals at Wembley. It's a final-esque stadium. It really isn't a semi-final position stadium. This is where finals should be held. And the final is held here. Don't get it twisted. I don't really agree with the whole semi-finals being held here either. If that makes sense. I don't really agree with that too much. It's not that I don't agree with it. It's just that I don't see how. Does that make sense? You know, I just don't. I don't see it. Basically, is what I would say. There's Emile Smith-Rowe. I'm very surprised. Arsenal let go of Emile Smith-Rowe. I mean, it's not like he was cutting it at Arsenal. I guess it could be PSR related. It could be. And the same with the sellings of Jesus as well in the January window to make funds for Euro and Gyökeres. So I think with that, I would not be surprised if Arsenal do not make any further signings for some time, because they have to comply with the PSR rulings. It's funny that you get that and then you hear of City's many charges against that kind of thing. Good row. And it's good tackle by Saliba again. Saliba and Gabriel have certainly been one of the centerpieces in Arsenal's defence as well. They need to win something, Arsenal. It's getting to the point of vital, really, isn't it? It's Martin Odegaard. And he's wide. But, you know, no matter what, I think it's like I said earlier, I think Arsenal fans are going to be really proud of their achievements this season. They're going from strength to strength. It's just one last hurdle they need to get past. And this year is probably... It didn't look like the year to do it until Alexander Isak came in and started scoring some goals. Now it's at the point of a bit critical now. But I certainly wouldn't be disappointed if I was an Arsenal fan and we didn't win anything again. I mean them, of course. I meant we as like if I was an Arsenal fan. I mean, when it comes to it, I'm a Manchester United supporter and pretty much neutral with everyone else. So there's that. Never a slow day at the office for Bukayo Saka. He's just not scored. I think they've done a very good job of closing him down, Fulham. I think that's probably the centrepiece. They've done very well with clogging the lanes for Isak and Saka to run into. Because those two have run amok. This team certainly deserves a trophy. That's the thing, though. At the end of the day, these guys deserve it for the way they've played. But sometimes bad luck can hit you, and City had that game in hand and now brought the Premier League level. The free kick here, Declan Rice. Certainly not a name I would have picked. Martin Odegaard has been the standard for free kicks this season, but he's not scored one, so maybe a change of taker could actually help here. Well, here he comes. It's going to be very interesting. Will he go for the Leo Golden technique? Well, it's certainly been viable. And he does, and he scores! Oh, blimey! Declan Rice, of all people, with a free kick goal. Oh, and it was the Leah Golden trick. What a free kick by Declan Rice. Who'd have thought? Well, it's splendidly taken, to be fair. Pick that one out. Absolutely inch perfect. Leno is nowhere. What a strike. Well, I think Declan Rice will be going to the front of the queue when free kicks are taken now. I think Arteta's even surprised. Everyone's surprised. Well, take a bow, Declan Rice. Very well taken indeed. His first goal of the competition is an absolute beauty, and it puts Arsenal up by a goal to nil with half-time approaching. What a strike. Declan Rice, 1-0 to Arsenal. Well, that has shot Declan Rice right to the front of the queue when it comes to free kicks now. We said that Odegaard has really been unlucky not to score one. And Declan Rice pulled that out of the Leah Golden bag of tricks. But has scored her 2 or 3 free kicks this season. And now Arsenal are bombing forward. Here's Isak. And now they find the momentum. And it's a good save by Lennon from that, to be fair. And he's going to go out for a throw-in for Arsenal. Saka throws it towards Trossard. He picked up the ball. Can Fulham muster up this attack before time runs out? Nope. Because he ran into Saliba. Trossard. Oh, he tried to play the ball over the top to Isak, but he took a deflection and ended up in the arms of Leno. Saka picks it up. The referee points for a free kick for some reason. Here's Saliba. Here's Moreno. And here... Oh, the ball went too far for Saka. Thought he would have got there. And the guy finds it. And with a tussle with the ball. Play goes on. And that's the half-time whistle. Well, it's not been the scoring route that Arsenal have been known for, but they'll take the long goal because Declan Rice, absolute stunning strike from a free kick, using the Leah Golden technique, it worked a treat. And Arsenal are up by a goal to nil thanks to a splendid goal. It is goal game-winning worthy. Let's hope that ends up being the case. Welcome to the second half here at Wembley Stadium. A semi-final match between Fulham and Arsenal. Arsenal up by a goal to nil thanks to a splendid Declan Rice free kick. Now, interestingly, Mikel Arteta has hit the load management button rather earlier than usual. Isak has already made way for Kai Havertz, and Saka has gone off for Nelson as well. So they've already gone, and I believe Tomiyasu has gone off as well. And here's Nelson! It's a goal. And he was on as a sub for Saka. Well, splendid substitution then. As we said, it doesn't really matter who comes out for Arsenal. They always get the goals they need, even though they couldn't against Brentford. Well, Reece Nelson definitely putting it in the back of the net when he needs to. And Bernd Leno here, probably rather unfortunate to be fair. It's a good goal and well taken. And Arsenal up by 2 goals to nil. And look to be going through to the final. We assume that Manchester City scored against, I think it was Liverpool earlier. So it's going to be an Arsenal and City FA Cup final. Because of course it is. Trossard. And now Kai Havertz. Oh, and another goal. And now they're bagging them in, and it's both substitutes, Havertz and Nelson, with the next 2 following on from Declan Rice. And a quick 2-fire goals for Arsenal. 3-0 up. Oh, Kai Havertz, he scores again. Well, he may be not the main striker, but as much as Isak is. When you need a goal, Kai Havertz normally gets it for you. And he's certainly been getting it for Mikel Arteta this season. Arsenal with 3 different scorers. They're up by 3 goals to 0. And Fulham don't have an answer as of now. That came off Gabriel. Now, did it come off his arm? The referee says no. Or at least inverted. But let's have a look here. Well, I think that's the correct decision. And the reason I do is because Gabriel was actually going to put his hands behind his back. He was actually in the motion of doing it when the ball was coming towards him. Good decision by the referee. And here's a former teammate of mine, Andreas Pereira, former Manchester United player. Every time it looked like Pereira was going to get his career started at United, it just never materialised. It's quite a shame, to be fair. Traore using that strength, but he's not as strong as Gabriel's challenge there. You can see Arsenal's strategy this year has really been keeping the ball on the ground and pinging it around. It's working. And foul on Trossard. Arsenal keep the ball anyway, so advantage would have been gained. Fulham have Aston Villa away at Villa Park next. Kai Havertz. Oh, saved by Leno. So after this, apart from the Champions League and the other European competitions, the cup runs will be over. It'll be all finals, and we will cover all of them, including the Europa Conference League that we forgot to mention at the beginning of the season. We will be covering that as well, and it is part of the schedule this year. All domestic finals. Will we get a final day decider? Well, we may do in the Women's Super League. Because Manchester United and Chelsea have pretty much been neck and neck the whole time. Looks like we might do in the Premier League as well, because Arsenal and Manchester City are now level on points, and we've got about 5 games left of the league season. And Manchester City look really relentless right now. So we could get final day deciders in the league. As far as relegation for the Premier League is concerned, I think that's probably going to go down before the final day, but we will, of course, have the last game at Goodison Park later this month, I think it is. Or, well, it's towards the end of the season, of course. Here's Kai Havertz. But we will be covering that last game at Goodison Park, just to point you in that direction again. And Everton have... Well, they haven't guaranteed their survival, but they've certainly made good strides towards it. And Dave Moyes has worked miracles. Well, next for Arsenal, it's a tough one, isn't it? It's up at the Bernabeu against Real Madrid. They lost their last time in the league phase, so not much is expected of Arsenal over 2 legs. So they'll just have to do the best they can. Only with a good header there. I see it's fallen to Havertz of all people. Here's Odegaard, and everyone's trying to get a piece of the ball. And the referee has called back for a free kick to Fulham. Samuel Lino is coming on for Adama Traore, Fulham substitution. Not really going to change much in the complex of the game at the moment. Arsenal really just seem home and dry, as it were. It's a good kick by Bernd Leno, to be fair, though. Here is Reed. And here is Munz. And it shoots! Oh! That was a stinging shot. That right, I probably would have been very lucky to get that. Let's see. I looked like it was going in. I'm going to lie, it was a zipping shot. Raya attempted to save it. It's well brought down. Nice Gage. Has taken it for and passed to Reed. Now Pereira. And now Emilio Smith-Rowe. Reed. Here's Lukic. And Lukic finds a gap. Oh! Darragh I was ready to shout out the top of my lungs there because that looked like an absolute screamer happening. And Darren Ryer's been beaten by a couple of those this year. He probably wouldn't have saved it, you know. A little bit lower, and he probably would have troubled him. Diop. Taken in there by Declan Rice. He fried him from that free kick now. It's also wonderfully done. Tierney. And Havertz with a header. And Leno gathers that one. Here's Muniz again. And second goal for Manchester City against Liverpool. We got it this time. It's Kevin De Bruyne. And it will be an Arsenal-Manchester City FA Cup final. And that's a good save by David Raya, but it was pretty poor from Gabriel, to be fair. And the best of clearances. And Manchester City and Arsenal re-engage battle again in the FA Cup final. Well, they'll know they can beat them because they did in the Premier League. And Muniz, he was wide open. He probably should have made more of that. It's a free header. David Raya was probably not going to reach that one either. Fulham with some glorious chances that they haven't taken.
This is a message for Mo Ali. Mo Ali, can you please meet Jennifer Bassett?
As he tackled by Moreno. Reece Nelson's away. Now, here he comes. Going all the way. Moreno has actually kept up with him and he's got the ball here and it's 4-0. Wonderfully done by Arsenal again. Number 24 and number 23 combining for the fourth goal. And that's another goal for Moreno this season. Well, he's not been amongst the goals as his other signing teammates like Isak, for example. But he's certainly popped up when he has a chance. And there it was. And it was served up on a platter for him by Nelson. And the finish to match it. Arsenal, once again, have been thoroughly dominant. And have pretty much both feet in the FA Cup final. Barring an absolute catastrophe, which doesn't look like happening in the last 50 minutes because Arsenal have been dependable for pretty much the whole season, to be honest. I think that was the first FA Cup start for Mikel Moreno this season. He spent the beginning of the part of it injured, and then he had a middle part where he was injured. So this is actually probably his first FA Cup start, well, according to that graph anyway. That pop-up. Didn't he find Havertz, but he was offside. And we have a score update. They really need to fix this for next year. It's a white box. We're going to assume it's City scoring 3-0. Liverpool really look gone and out of that one. To Odegaard. Smith Rowe to Andreas Pereira. Pushed by Odegaard. Advantage will not be gained. That'll be a free kick to Fulham. Smith Rowe not taking it quick. It's going to let Pereira take it directly instead. Whip it in. Cleared by Saliba. Trossard tries to get it clear. It was off an arm. Advantage won't be gained and the referee pulls it back again. It's time for an Arsenal free kick. Takes it short. Oh, and Leno has got there ahead of Moreno. Gabriel immediately atones for that error. And was headed forward by Moreno. Now Havertz is away here. And here comes Kai Havertz. And the shot isn't all that powerful because he was put off a man behind him. And immediately Bernardo kicked it out and found Smith Rowe, but he is offside. So play will be stopped. Alex Iwobi coming on against his former club. Not really much chance to make an impact, I'm afraid. 7 minutes left, and Arsenal up by 4 goals to 0. Well, we know that their turnarounds can happen. We had it in the Premier League that 1 year. QPR to have done the impossible in Manchester United's favour. And there's a certain man called Sergio Aguero. I think we all remember and know the rest. I certainly do. Now Raya kicks it out his area, does a very good job of it, but unfortunately there's no assist for him because no Arsenal player was anywhere near it. But they won't care, they've cleared the ball, so they've got to make Fulham work to get back there. There's Iwobi. So I guess the question we could ask is, at what cost have Arsenal made it for the FA Cup final here? Because of course they've got Real Madrid next. But to be fair, Saka and Isak have already made way, and that would be why. So the load management kind of thing for Arteta has worked again. But to be fair, Gabriel and Saliba look like playing the whole game. So that's going to make Real Madrid interested. Going to have to face Arsenal's B unit. But, as we said, it doesn't really matter who's out there for Arsenal. They always put in a spectacular performance. More often than not. And here's Munz, and good save by David Raya. And Saliba's going to head it out for a corner. Very well played by him. Well, Fulham just haven't been at the races when it comes to shots. And David Raya saved the rest. It's been another FA Cup clean sheet for him. Another clean sheet for the season. It may not look as many as he did last, but he's probably still reached over that overall anyway. Trossard. Dealt with by Saliba again. They're going to miss him against Madrid if he doesn't play, that's for sure. To think Saliba a few seasons ago was on loan to Marseille. It was the making of him, for sure. Moreno. Flick it over the top to Odegaard, but he was way ahead of the ball. He's gone and got it for himself anyway. Long time, 7 minutes of added on time here. Timber. Really slowing the game down. Just passing it around. And the time to run out. Not time wasting because they are moving with the game. Odegaard. Will it go out for a corner? Yes, it will. Arsenal will get another chance. Not that they need it. Stinky shot from Martin Odegaard here. Good save. Ball has fallen to Nelson here off the corner, and that is the end of the game. It was never in doubt. Arsenal in the FA Cup final, most likely against Manchester City, you have to feel, as the top two in the Premier League will meet for a chance for a trophy. Arsenal have been a few years overdue one, but they'll have to come over the might of Manchester City first. Well, they know they can beat them because they have already, so no excuses will be necessary for this Arsenal side. They are one game away from silverware that they have utterly deserved. And they win here again by a big scoreline, 4-0. And as we expected, it is Manchester City and Arsenal in that FA Cup final. What a matchup that's going to be.